From the YBA Phenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rocklin, California, it's Bout That Life Podcast with your host, Coach C.Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Coach C.Collins. Welcome to Bout That Life Podcast, where we talk a little bit of basketball life and everything in between, where I try to give you guys some insight, some great guests, some knowledge, and free game to help you in your basketball journey. Again, if you are listening on the audio side and you feel so inclined to support and follow, please go ahead and do that. It's one small click for you, big help for me. Do the HBO special, help a brother out. But if you don't feel any pressure about it. Get this knowledge, soak it in, get some free game, and hopefully it'll help you and you parents and you young athletes in your basketball journey or even in your sports journey. Just everything I try to do is to help create insight and information so you guys can navigate this crazy field of ours. So before I get to my guests, I want to do a quick shout out, obviously, to my sponsors as usual. Shout out to Dr. Dish, best shooting machine on the market. They have a range of models. They have the home edition, which I would strongly suggest if you're trying to get your shots up at home. We all know kids, athletes, got to get shots up to get better, especially at game speed. So they got the All-Star, the Rebel. Tell them Bout That Life sent you. They will hook you up with a discount. Also, my other sponsor, Hardwood Palace, if you're looking for AAU tournaments, if you are looking for rec leagues, if you're looking for just a good introductory way to play basketball and us go hopefully eventually into the competitive side, check out Hardwood Palace right here in Rocklin, California. It's right next door to the YBA facility. Contact Steve or Grant. Let them know Bout That Life sent you and they'll hook you up. All right. So with all that being said, I would like to get to my guest. So my guest here is a very, really cool, unique circumstance. We are catching an athlete who was just drafted to the NBA. His journey, and he's a Sacramento-born kid, so Sacramento-born and raised kid, like watching his journey from where he was. The first time I saw him was like middle school, high school, and to watch the progression of what he's evolved into and what he's become is amazing to watch. We're going to delve into his story, but, definitely I would say this is a very cool episode to catch literally the beginning of a young man's professional career. Right? It's very rare to catch somebody in that moment. It's like getting a rookie card of Michael Jordan. That card's probably worth $1 million right now, right? So we get the opportunity to talk to this young man. And obviously from this episode, you get some insight to who he is and then see how his career evolves. Obviously for me, I'm biased. I want him to have the best career ever. I want him to succeed and have value in everything he's doing. But, without further ado, let me introduce Jalen Wells. How you doing, Jay?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Again, thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you have a busy schedule. I know you've had about, 30 kids from YBA run up to you and say hi and ask for photos. But no, man, again, I really, really appreciate you doing this. Want to get right to it. So, tell the people that are listening, who you are, kind of a brief synopsis of your career. Obviously, we'll talk about the different milestones as we go. But introduce yourself to the world so people know who you are.
I'm Jalen Wells, born and raised in Sacramento. Went to Folsom High School. Out of high school, didn't have any D1 offers. Had 2 D2 offers, one to Western Oregon, one to Sonoma State. Ended up going to Sonoma State and then played there for 2 years and then transferred to Washington State for 1 year. Just got to a bigger platform and then succeeded there and got drafted 39th pick to Memphis Grizzlies.
All right. So let's talk. Well, the first question, again, like I typically ask to all my guests, because this is primarily a show about AAU basketball. Tell the audience your AAU teams, your primary AAU teams. And after you do that, the question I overall ask is, seeing AAU basketball for what it stands and where it sits right now in 2024 and you being kind of removed from it for obviously a few years, maybe you could tell me some pros, some cons, what you think of it overall, and, tell the audience your perspective of it.
Yeah, growing up, like elementary school, middle school, I played for a lot of AAU teams. I played for the top ones, maybe not as competitive ones. I played for Soldiers, Team Lillard, all those teams. So, I mean, but high school main AAU team was Rose City Ballers. They kind of helped me put myself on the map. And I had an opportunity to play for like a circuit team. I had an opportunity to play for Team Lillard. Obviously, that was a really competitive team in high school, but I kind of just chose to go with Rose City just because they had faith in me. They had a plan for me, and they kind of had a bigger role for me just to hoop and get to the next level. So, I mean, it was a very new program too. So I think I literally went to like their first tryout ever.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, like we want to build a team around him. And like, I'll take that rather than just going, playing for any circuit team, sitting in the corner and playing defense.
Right.
I mean, at the next level, you might have to do that. But I mean, when you're playing AAU in high school, you're trying to get better and get to college. So I don't think that's the best for getting to college.
Yeah. No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of pros and cons. Obviously, there's the top AAU teams. They offer you different things. You're playing against the best competition. You're playing against the strongest guys, the fastest guys. You got all the cameras on you, the media. So I think it's really depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
If you're trying to develop, I don't think playing on those top teams is always the best decision. Like for me, I went to Rose City and I was doing everything. I was dribbling. I was doing things that I wasn't really allowed to do in high school for my high school team. So just the way I looked at it and the way like my dad kind of looked at it was just like, we can't do all the things we want to like develop in your high school team when they're trying to win conference, all that stuff. Of course. So find a place outside of that where you can actually develop and do all those things. So I feel like, and then when you play it for like the lower teams, you may not get that media, you may not get
like the exposure.
So I mean, I feel like it all has its pros and cons. It's really just what you're looking for.
Okay.
I think if you're playing I think you just gotta kind of balance it.
Okay.
If you're playing all your high school years on a top AAU team, I feel like you kind of need to experience both.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think it's bad, but you just kind of balance it both out and get the pros from both.
Right. Well, and obviously it worked out for you in the long run anyway, right? And I always say it like this, well, because to be fair, Rose City still had a solid platform, right? They were on the UA, and they're currently now with Puma and whatnot, and they were on the UA Rise, for those in case you don't know the lingo, right? The AAU lingo. They were on the UA Rise, along with myself 1 year. So, but they were on it prior to me. But it's like that's still a solid platform. But is it like, the highest of the highs, like the Nike UIBLs and all that stuff? No, but it's still enough.
Wasn't even, when I was playing, we were still Adidas.
Oh, you're still Adidas? Oh, okay.
Adidas Silver Gauntlet.
Okay, yeah. So you guys are really like, yeah, that's the beginning. But like you said, you got the most out of it because you were able to have the freedom to expand your game and, play outside your role, right? So I think it's kind of really cool that you said that because, there's always that argument in the AAU world. The guy I argue with the most about it is Marcus, right? Mr. Striver Brothers, you can't guard me, blah, 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 blah. But no, I argue with him the most about this because he's always like, to develop, you have to play at the highest level, right? You got to play at the Nike UIBLs, the Adidas, 3SSBs, and I go, no. I tell him, no, I believe it depends on the kid and depend on what's best for him. So that's why it was kind of cool for you to speak on that difference, right? Because I think I personally, my personal take, I do think sometimes kids and parents get too swept up, in the free gear and all this, and they're not thinking about what's best for my child to, get the maximum success they can get. So let's talk briefly about, your time with Rose City and them as a program, because for those who don't know, that's a Sacramento-based program. Right. And as I've talked about many times on this show, I really want to make and uplift Sacramento, and I would love to get a fully sponsored, shoe circuit team out here on one of the major circuits. PHPS just got one. They're with New Balance, but they've always kind of figured out ways to get their team sponsored and things like that. But I think Sacramento should have like an EYBL team or a 3SSB team or a UAA team, either one. And I'm biased. Like, of course, I want my program to be the one, but, I'm biased. Like, I'm not going to hide that fact. But it wouldn't matter overall to me to any program that achieves it. I just feel like Sacramento needs one because our talent gets outsourced all the time.
Yeah.
So, kind of what compelled you to stick with a Sacramento team, like you said, when you had opportunities to play outside of Sacramento?
Yeah, I mean, it was more just they had a plan for me, man. Just getting to know them as people. It was ran by Brandon and Brendan, and just you knew that they loved basketball. You knew that, like, just being with them, they're gonna do what's best for you. They're not all for the hype, for the money, and they were doing it for the love of basketball. So we just knew it was a great program. I mean, like I said, I went to the first ever tryout. He literally just DM'd me one day, and I was just like, "Hey, Dad, like this team DM'd me. What do you think?" He's like, "Oh, we might as well go."
Check it out. Yep.
and then I showed up, and we just kind of seen the passion in them. I mean, I think it was me and Cole Simon.
Yeah.
Me and Cole Simon, like it was me and him just killing the tryouts. But yeah, even though like they didn't have the best competition there, like we just kind of knew it was the right place.
Okay.
I think that's what it's about, just like finding the right fit, finding the right place that's going to develop you.
Okay.
And yeah, we ended up sticking with it. Obviously, we could have played somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was right. I mean, even through COVID too, like they did everything in their power to keep playing. We'd go to Idaho all the time. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of it's just is being around the right people, surround yourself by the right people.
Do you think that helps you having like coaches and staff that seem to be invested in you as the person, Jalen Wells, on top of obviously the athlete? Like, do you think that helps? Or because, sometimes and it's no knock on these programs because it is a business at the end of the day. Like it's just the business of sports. Sometimes programs have to be a little more invested on the talent of the kid than necessarily the person, right? I don't think they're inherently evil or trying to do anything wrong there, but I think that's just kind of unfortunate. It's an unfortunate side effect of when you become so big and so good. You know what I mean? So do you think like did that help you having people that like really were in your corner and had your back?
No, definitely. I think that's ultimately what got me to Sonoma State. Also, I mean, like you said, like a lot of these teams bring in players from different states, even countries, play every different tournament. Every tournament they have 10 different players.
Yeah.
I mean, Rose City might have one or two different players here and there.
Right.
But for the most part, they're developing their own players and just kind of put it in like back into their own program rather than just, finding whatever kid they can from Utah or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, and I think that's big. I mean, I wanted to talk to you about like your dad. He's, I've known your family quite a while actually. Like I knew your sister and your brother when we were younger. I'm old now, but I met your dad a long time ago when I was a young man and I was playing college ball and whatnot. And he's we're friends on social media. He's always been proud of you and your siblings' accomplishments and all that stuff. But how big of a role did he help play in what you've become today?
Yeah, huge role. He sacrificed a lot. Him and my mom, they both sacrificed a lot of their time.
Oh yeah, shout out to moms too. So.
Yeah. No, they sacrificed a lot of their time. I mean, the amount of times they drove. I mean, my mom would show up at every game. Washington State, like she's been the Pullman, and if you know Pullman,
yeah,
that's not an easy trip.
No, it's not.
But she's been there a lot. But yeah, I mean, just being there, they always stay positive, kept giving me advice. My dad, after every game, always giving me these 2-hour lectures. I used to hate them. Obviously, you find value in them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, just being able to grow up with two parents that love basketball just like I do and love the dream that I want. I think that was probably the biggest thing.
When did you like start playing? Did you like when you were a little kid? Do you remember like 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old? Do you remember like when you?
See, my parents put me in like every single sport. So I mean, I played tennis, I did football, gymnastics.
See, y'all need to listen. I tell parents this all the time. Put your kids in a lot of sports. See, listen.
I think I ended up just sticking with the 3. I think it was probably like through first or third grade. I had 3 main sports, which were gymnastics, football, and basketball.
Okay.
And then I ended up quitting football, and then I ended up quitting gymnastics. I kind of just fell in love with basketball. So, I mean, as long as I can remember, I was playing basketball.
Okay. And so, I'm sure your dad was, like you said, but you're beyond the lectures, the training, the workouts and things like that. For you, I mean, I'm sure you worked out on your own. Every basketball player works out on their own. But I'm saying, did you have like a bunch of trainers, or did you have like just one or two you gravitate to, or was your dad mainly your trainer, or do you remember that story?
I feel like I always had like one or two trainers. I have like one main trainer, and then maybe because I used to kind of move around Sacramento a lot. So when it was close, I had that one trainer. I mean, I had Danielle Viglione. She helped me in high school.
Shout out to her. I'm trying to get her on the show too.
Oh yeah. She helped me a lot in high school with my shot. Dante Miller, he was another big trainer in high school.
Shout out to him as well.
That helped me in middle school. I obviously went to Country Day, Ankrum. I was always at Ankrum ever since I was a kid. You know AD?
Yeah.
AD.
Of course.
I'm missing some more.
It's all right.
But yeah.
they know who you are.
Yeah. And I think well, my parents just did a good job of just surrounding me with the right people.
Right.
They always wanted to see me succeed. They were never doing anything like behind our backs. So I think that was good.
And so, and then let's circle back to your high school career. In case you guys missed it, he's at Folsom High School. Where did you go? Did you go all 4 years there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll just have to ask that. You know, kids transfer all the time, so I have to. And obviously, that's with Coach Mike Wall. You know, how was that experience? You know what I mean? And because, you know, the reality is this, like, and you know, I watched you in your high school career and everything, and you were solid. It wasn't like you sucked or anything like that, and you were never that. But to be honest with you, you weren't as good as you are now. So I'm just curious how your high school journey, what was that like? What did you feel? Maybe some of your ups and downs, things like that.
Nah, yeah, that definitely wasn't perfect. Coming into high school, I was 5'8" as a freshman. I was probably the start of the year off as like the 15th or 16th man on JV.
Were you like 5'8", $105?
Yeah. Only reason I got on JV was because my best friend Cody.
Okay.
He transferred, or he went to Folsom also, and they're like, he's good enough to play JV, but we were kind of like best friends. So they said, okay, let's bring him up too.
Yeah.
So I was really like the last person on the team. I had some decent games in here and there. You know, we had like a tournament championship game. I had 30, but then I was inconsistent.
Okay.
But like even during that freshman year, they're like, yeah, you're going to end up playing varsity next year, so just be ready.
Okay.
And everything. That didn't happen.
Okay.
I was on JV my sophomore year. I was probably around 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
I was even starting. I was the sixth man. All the freshmen were starting in front of me. So
I'm sure that frustrated you.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they're kind of like pushing me out the way for the freshmen.
Yeah.
A little bit. But just like you said, like, did I go there all 4 years? Like, I think that was one of those moments where a lot of people would transfer.
Yes, 100%.
But that's just not kind of the way I look at things.
Okay.
So I mean, I just kept working, grew to 6'2" my junior year, ended up starting every single varsity game as a junior. 6'2", had a decent year. Probably averaged around 9 points, 4 rebounds. Decent year as a starter. And then COVID happened at the end of that year.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the hardest I ever worked in my life.
Yeah.
I would go to the Folsom High School, run bleachers, just find a hoop around the city. You know, because they used to take the rims down.
Yeah.
So like really just find a hoop. I mean, Danielle, we used to work on this. It was like a church gym. Okay. And it had a carpet floor.
Oh yeah.
So we were working out there almost every day. Dante opened up his gym for me. But yeah, that was probably the hardest I ever worked in my life. You know, so I went from averaging 9 and 4 to averaging 28 and 9. 28 and 8.
That is a significant jump. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously after that year, like, I mean, that's a pretty good year, especially at Folsom. Pretty competitive high school.
Absolutely.
Usually people average that. You know, they're probably going D1.
Yeah.
I had 0 D1 offers, 2 Division II offers. None of them were full scholarships. It was Western Oregon, Sonoma State. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people were telling me just kind of like walk on and everything. Walk on.
Like try to walk on at a D1?
Sac State or, you know, whatever it was. But I kind of wanted to be a place, like I said, being in Bro City, kind of just being a place where they had a plan for me. Like they wanted me there. And so I ended up choosing Sonoma State. Probably the best decision I made in my career.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, just being able to develop as a person, as a player, as a leader. And yeah.
Okay.
That's my answer.
No, and then, well, you know, you turn the page, you're at Sonoma State, you know, and And like I said, that's a huge jump considering. And then obviously your height and your size is starting to kick in more and more, I'm sure. Because I mean, shit, you're taller than me. So you 6'8", 6'7"?
Yeah. I was 6'6" my senior year in high school.
Okay.
Playing
Yeah.
point guard.
So that those growth spurts help too.
Yeah.
So no, like now you're at Sonoma State. Let's fast forward. You're there. You're at Sonoma. Watching, because again, I was watching from afar. I always kind of watch you kids and hear things from afar, and a lot of people are talking about your growth as just a player in general, your ability to score, your ability to create shots, your athleticism, your defense. Like people were saying, hey man, like Jalen's out here killing. Like, so I'm like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I remember that kid. Like I'm looking at like, can you talk about the psychological like switch that just went off? I mean, obviously, I'm assuming your coach and you guys had some conversations where he was like, hey, man, look, I believe in you. Here's the keys to the car, but you got to drive it. You know what I mean? But like, if you can, talk about that transition psychologically from the 5'8" freshman kid barely scraping by to, okay, now I'm at a D2 and I'm the guy.
Yeah. I don't think it was a switch. I think I'm just kind of a person that kind of like just keeps grinding until I get the spotlight. Once I finally got that chance to be on varsity and they gave me the keys, like I shined.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of how it's been in every situation.
Okay.
Sonoma State, Washington State. I mean, I feel like
even the summer league, this past summer league, you did some great stuff.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I was 5'8", but I mean, I just had a great work ethic. I mean, it all came together at once.
Mm-hmm.
Got the keys. I grew to 6'6". So yeah, I think it kind of just needed that opportunity, and once I had the opportunity, I kind of took it.
So yeah, and I want to talk about that too. The work, how often do you work out? I mean, obviously, I would assume every day to a degree, but I'm just saying, like you said, that especially that COVID year where I'm assuming was just relentless at it. But like, maybe you can talk, because I have a lot of obviously kids and parents that listen to my podcast, right? Because they're trying to get insight on. It's crazy because we all say the same thing, no matter what level you played at, whether it's JUCO to the pros, whatever. We all say the same thing. You can go on any of these past episodes, Jordan Ford, Kai Huntsberry, all these guys. They say, hey, Bobby, when Bobby was here, like you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. There's no days off. You got to put in the work. And then, parents are like, and kids are like, well, how do you make it? It's like, we're all saying, we're all saying the same thing. So maybe if they hear it from you, it's a different voice. But I just want you to talk about, your work ethic, your discipline, your workouts, what keeps you motivated. Just talk about that whole process if you can.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from just my dad. My dad used to always take me to go work out at like 24-hour Fitness, CalFit. And then I kind of fell in love with working, and I kind of just did it by myself. I didn't really need him to go work out. I'll just go out and, work by myself. So it wasn't him pushing me. It was now me just
coming from you.
Loving the game and wanting to get better. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the way I feel like I think and I'm wired, like my whole day is based on basketball.
Okay.
Like, I schedule my things around basketball. Like, for example, today I had a 9 a.m. workout to 10:30. And then had like a 3 p.m. workout, and then obviously now I got this. Yeah. But like when I wake up, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to eat? So I'm ready for this workout. After this workout, I got how much time I got in between. Maybe I'll play one college football game.
Right.
Eat right after. Eat a little snack before, and then so like I feel like everything I do for my day is kind of like around basketball. I don't know how healthy that is. But
we're all a little crazy. That's one thing I say when you're a basketball, junkie like we are, like there's a switch broken with us. like we're not normal, but that's okay, right? Because it's in a constructive way.
Yeah, my dad always taught me, just like growing up, he always say like beat tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was one of the things. Like if you're gonna miss all your shots, at least you're not tired doing it, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, to play defense, you can't be tired,
right?
So one of the biggest things for me was just being conditioned and being well conditioned, being able to play the whole game, being able to run up and down the whole game.
Okay, no, that's great. I mean, so would you say, well, your discipline might be one of your, like, would you consider that one of your strongest attributes? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, discipline, and it's kind of the way I think. I'm just always a positive person. I just kind of have to learn how to take the positive out of the negative.
Okay,
like. Sonoma, my freshman year at Sonoma State, we went 3-25.
Oof. Yeah.
But I think that, there was a lot of learning that year. You got to learn how to lose.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And we lost a lot.
You lose before you win, right?
Right. But it was, I think one of the things that I learned from that year was just like the different paths that everyone took. We had 24-year-olds that, was at school for 6 years trying to get their master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
People that are just, one of my best friends, Jake Salinero, he probably had 10 DNPs his last year when it was my freshman year.
Oh, wow.
And he's now playing pro in Germany.
That's very cool.
The guys you like kind of connect with and like learn their journey. It's like, it's so much different. Everyone's so different,
mm-hmm.
and everyone's just kind of make it in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the greatest thing. And if you watched our last game, when we're 3-24 and we ended up losing that 25th game, you would think that we went 25-0.
Yeah.
That was just kind of the way our team was wired.
Right.
And we kind of just always stay together, stay positive. So I think I learned a lot from that year.
Okay. Well, and that's good because obviously next year. So you transferred after your sophomore year, correct?
Yeah, I did 2 years there.
Okay. So let's go to that transition. You transfer, hit the transfer portal. You get to UW,
Washington State.
Or Washington State, sorry. Sorry. Washington State. Yeah, thanks for correcting me.
The Cougar fans.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. My fault, y'all. My fault. No, you get there, I think a lot of people from the outside looking in don't quite understand how all that works. When I had Zach Chappelle on the show, we talked details about how the transfer portal works. So obviously if someone's listened to the past show, they understand it. But for newcomers or maybe someone who doesn't know, you put you go to basically admissions or whatever, they put you in that transfer portal, and then you kind of either have something already set up to go to, or you kind of sit back and wait and see if that phone rings or whatever. What made you pick that particular school?
Yeah, it kind of just felt right. I feel like that's one of those things, like when you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know if you know Wayne Hunter, he's from Sacramento. He was black coach on the staff. We really connected well. And then they kind of, we went on a Zoom with my family, and they had a plan, and they seemed like they believed in me.
Okay.
And then obviously I took a visit there, took a visit to Pullman. The community was great.
Nice.
You walk around anywhere, you have a logo on, they're going to say Go Cougs. Really the whole city is just sitting around like Washington State.
So it was a really culture, cool. And the culture was rich.
And actually it was crazy because my flight there, it took me I was in the airport for about 20 hours.
Whoa.
I woke up at 4 a.m., took a flight to Seattle.
Yeah.
Stuck in the Seattle airport for 15 hours.
Oh, man.
Finally took the last flight out. We couldn't fly into Pullman. We had to fly into Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
Landed in Spokane at 12 a.m. and the coach came and picked us up from Spokane Airport, drove an hour and a half to Pullman.
Wow. Well, that's dedication.
So I missed that whole day of my visit, and then we had a day in the morning left.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, like you said, it felt right, and obviously it worked out. So you're now there, gearing up, ready to do your thing. Your mentality's obviously in the right place, body in shape, the grind, the work, all that good stuff. And you had some great games, obviously. For those, I would suggest you look up his resume. Of course, I'm going to have his Instagram link in the description, so you guys can follow him and look at his journey. But what was your mindset going into that situation?
Honestly, I didn't know where I was going to end up as far as in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was just blindly working.
Okay.
Honestly, when I got there, it felt like I was 12th, 13th man.
Okay.
There was a lot of wings in my position. Even after the season, the coach ended up telling me they were thinking of redshirting me.
Oh, wow.
So, obviously, exact opposite happened.
Yeah. No doubt. I'm just surprised to hear that.
But yeah, I was just working. I had a couple of injuries. I had one injury, but it kept kind of keep coming and going. So it wasn't looking too positive at the start of the year, but I was definitely showing spurts even when I was healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kept working. I think coming from Sonoma State to Washington State, you appreciate the resources you get.
Right.
Because having 24-hour gym access, having food,
Trainers, right? All
everywhere.
that. Yeah.
Trainers, GAs, managers, 5 extra coaches. Like that was a crazy change to me. I think I actually had to like learn how to use these resources.
Yeah.
I was so used to doing everything on my own.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of like one of the biggest things is just like learning to appreciate, what you didn't have at Sonoma State. And I was using it. I was using it all.
Yeah, as you should. As you should.
But yeah, it's definitely just kind of blindly working. Like I said, I just keep grinding until I get that opportunity. His first 4 or 5 games, I didn't really play that much, but I had some good minutes here and there. I kept getting more and more minutes. Finally, I had the opportunity. The opportunity was against USC. First game I started.
Yeah.
LeBron was courtside. I think I had 15, 16 points in the first half.
Yep.
We ended up winning. It was a huge conference win for us. And
Didn't you have just start not to interrupt? I just remember that. I recall that game because that's when everyone was like, "Oh, did you see what Jalen did? Didn't you have like 22 or 24 that game, or did you have more?"
I ended up with like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
But yeah, had a really good game, big conference win for us, and I kind of just never looked back from there.
Man, that's so cool. Like, just on the fun, I mean, has it sunk in like really like your story? Your story is not the traditional. You do understand you are living the underdog story. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's not a knock on you. Like, you don't deserve it. You fucking earned every step of the way. It's just, I wonder, have you really had that realization? You know what I mean? Like, your story's gonna make a good movie, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my agent was literally telling me, he told me during like my pre-draft process, he was like, a year and a half ago, you're playing against Humboldt State.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Humboldt State.
Right. But still, there's levels
like,
to this.
But now you just, you had 30 against Arizona. Now you're, playing against NBA guys and you're playing in summer league. Like,
and you just dropped 50 in Vancouver.
Yeah, like, and literally 2 years ago, you were playing Humboldt State, and there was probably 200 people watching. So it's like, yeah, when he said that, it kind of put things into perspective, and it's kind of crazy.
I'm sure of course, I imagine you're appreciative of everybody who supported you and everyone who's been around you. And I'm sure you've had people who probably doubted you along the way. I mean, that just comes with the territory. But like I said, where you're sitting at now, obviously getting ready to climb another mountain, right? Being a professional athlete. And again, you might have heard this 1,978,100,000 times, but again, congratulations. Let me be the one to add to it. No, congratulations. You got drafted. As we all talk about, plenty of NBA podcasts all say this, and I'm no different. I'm gonna say it. There's 450 jobs in the league. You got one of them, right? What are you looking forward to? What's I'm sure there's the anxiousness, like you're geared up, you're ready to go, but in your mind, kind of, what are some key things you want to focus on, or maybe some key elements and things you're looking for yourself to be able to do out on that court?
Yeah, honestly, just looking forward to learn. There's a lot of new things to learn in the NBA. A lot of there's obviously a lot of new rules. There's less time on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Game's much faster. You got people that's been in the NBA for 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think and there's just like so many little things that, they know how to make you get a foul call. They know how to, foul you without the ref seeing it. So I think a lot of it is just that, just being able to be around those NBA guys every single day, being around stronger, faster guys, and just, I feel like you naturally get better that way. But yeah, definitely excited to learn. I feel like I'm kind of going to season similar to like Washington State.
Right.
I don't really know where I might end up in the rotation. I might be up and down in the G League, but yeah, just ready for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Whenever that opportunity comes, I'm gonna be ready.
Just be ready. Exactly. And that seems to be a theme with you, which is a good thing. It's kind of a poetic thing that you got drafted by Memphis, because that's kind of that was their whole thing, grit and grind, and you know what I mean, like kind of that working class.
The reporter was saying they're called the Underdog City.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's kind of actually like I said, very poetic that you ended up there. Well, obviously, I wish you nothing but success. I'm sure your family. You got a bunch of people rooting for you, man, and I'm proud to see it. It's always interesting, kind of seeing how everything plays out when it comes to everybody's individual path, right? Yours, like I said, is definitely not the glamorous traditional story. It's a very cool underdog story, and obviously, hopefully the chapter is far from closed, right? Have you had opportunities to obviously? Well, let me, before you ask that, I want to talk about the summer league a little bit. Obviously, you played well in the summer league. You hit a game winner too, right? Like, so, what did you learn from that experience? Playing in the summer league, kind of getting introduced, I'm assuming, to the coaching staff and, meeting those people. I got to catch a little bit of your games when I text you when I was in Vegas briefly, you and AJ Johnson, right? But what did you learn from that experience?
A lot of it was just getting used to the speed. Having a 24-second shot clock, it's much faster than you think it is.
Yeah.
You can come down and shoot a three and no one really cares.
Right.
15 seconds left on the shot clock, no one really cares.
Right. Like in college, they're like, no, that's too quick, right?
So I think like having that next play mentality is so much more important when you're in the league rather than like college. Because you're shooting a lot more shots. There's a lot more things going on every single play. So a lot of it was just getting used to that speed. And I kind of just found my role within that team. A lot of people were saying I wasn't really a good defender.
Okay.
I think I showed myself like I was just going to go out there and defend. I wasn't knocking down my shots at the start. Wasn't as efficient. So I knew how to do something to help us win.
Yeah.
Which for me, that was doing whatever it was off the ball. I wasn't knocking down shots. So I was just guarding, picking up full court, trying to get steals, just trying to disrupt the offense, just making the right play.
Yeah.
I never really been that type of like selfish player that's like go out there. I need 30.
Right.
I don't need 30. I need to win.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay. So as you were obviously going through your games in the summer league and adapting to the speed and things like that, and obviously playing against, really good competition on top of that, because obviously in that situation, everybody's hungry. Everybody's trying to, play their role or do their best. Do you think that pushed you to elevate your game, at that? Because, quite frankly, that level is the highest level, whether it be summer league and then the NBA, whatever you want to call it. That's the highest level in this basketball realm of ours. Did you kind of feel like, man, this is like the toughest level that's going to push me to be the best version of yourself?
Definitely. Even from the first game to the last championship game we had, I feel like I was 10 times better.
Okay.
I think a lot of the stuff is not even about skills. It's more just about your mindset and, like what you're picking up and, taking the mistakes you made and then not creating those same mistakes.
Okay.
Even like we had, when I went to Memphis after getting drafted, we had like 3 weeks of workouts. I think just being in that environment, having those NBA trainers and having those resources, like just being there in general, I felt like I got better. Yeah.
And then, and the staff, the chance to meet the staff, and like you said, going to Memphis and seeing the environment and the atmosphere. How do you like it overall?
Oh no, it's great. I love the Memphis staff. There's a lot of new coaches too, so I feel like everyone's kind of getting used to Memphis a little bit. But yeah, there's no unanswered question.
Okay. All right.
They have something for everything.
Okay.
I'm finally starting to learn that literally, if you need a toenail clipper,
they gonna find something. Yeah. I remember because I've been practice players even back when the Kings were like back at Arco and the Monarchs and all that stuff, and I just remember they have candy and Gatorades and whatever, just like whatever you need is always in that gym. So that's one of the cool parts of making it to that level, because they're gonna make sure. Because the reality is you're an investment for them, and they want to see return on that investment, and obviously you want to see return on your investment because you've invested your life into this, right? So it just makes sense. Everybody's hopefully on the same page. Before we move on to the next segment, I wanted to talk to you about, there's some news, obviously some good news that I saw, and has been put out there. You're starting, or you're associated with your own AAU program and brand. I'm sure you and Rose City are partnered or whatnot. Is Rose City going to change their name, or is it just, it's just more of a partnership with you?
Yeah. So So one of the teams is mine. It's going to be Jalen Wells Elite.
Okay.
Different colorways can match like the Memphis colors and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just being able to be in charge of the team that I literally played on.
You're right.
And I was literally there at the start. And now I'm able to have my own team that has my name on it and be able to support them. So it's pretty cool.
And is there anything you want to add about that or that program or, put out there? Because obviously high school start back up. So we're not, and nobody's in, well, some people are. I'm not. I'm not in recruitment phase until like, January next year or whatever. But obviously this is pretty cool in terms of for you and the Rose City guys, even though they're my competitors, at the end of the day, I respect what they do and I respect anybody that's out here helping you guys succeed. We haven't had a NBA program, with an NBA player attached to the name since Matt Barnes Elite. And that was, I think, a while ago. So, and that was with Dwayne and whatnot. So you brought something like that back. Is there anything more you want to speak on that or, let people know about it or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is to compete, be the best we can, win as much as possible. But just knowing, I'm just happy to know that there's great people a part of this because I literally been through the organization. So knowing that the two people running it, helping run it is one of the best in the business because, I mean, I've got firsthand experience of being with them. So I think that's probably the most important part. So just knowing that my team's in good hands.
All right, good. So let's move on. We are going to hot takes. Let's talk about a few recent things in basketball news, AAU news, in general, before we get into the juicy stuff. Jay, I always ask kind of this stuff. Who's your top 5 all time?
All time. This is my top 5?
Your top 5. No, your subjective opinion, your top 5.
All right. Put in D Wade first.
D Wade?
Yep.
Okay, that's different. Most would say MJ, Kobe, LeBron, whatever. Okay, D Wade, I like that.
Going D Wade. I never really know for like LeBron and MJ.
You can even I even say this as alternative. You can make like your all time starting 5.
Oh, okay.
Like you can say point guard, this one, shooting guard. You know what I mean? Either one, either way
point
you go.
Guard, I'm putting Allen Iverson.
Okay.
Shooting guard, I'm putting Dwayne Wade.
All right.
I put Jordan at the small forward. I'm gonna put LeBron at the 4, and I'm putting Shaq at the 5.
All right, I can't be mad at that. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good all time 5. Noah, who might no KD. No doubt. If you had to say your game, like maybe someone you think like you model your game after, or someone you kind of always, or at least feel you play like, who would you think this is your game similar to or mirrors kind of? I mean, we all have our own game, but you know what I'm saying.
I have no idea, honestly. Like going through the pre-draft process, everyone was like comparing me to like a Keegan Murray or like a Trey Murphy.
Okay.
But like someone I model my game after, like I really like watching Jimmy Butler.
Okay,
Like,
nice.
I feel like I'm a simple player. He's simple, he's
and tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna guard, get steals, kind of just do whatever he does, do what he can to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like a player I like and a player I like to try to model after.
Okay. For like you said on the defensive end, you said it. At first people thought maybe, hey, he's not that good on defense or whatever. Is that something you want to kind of disprove when you get out? When you get out playing and preseason's coming up and all that stuff. Is that something kind of a chip on your shoulder you want to prove out there?
Yeah, because going to Washington State was the first time in my life someone said I was a bad defender. Like the whole coaching staff was all on board that
You took that personal, huh?
Like even throughout the whole year, still a bad defender. I thought that was crazy. Because I mean, going Folsom's all defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, you couldn't get on the floor if you couldn't play defense,
right?
And just personally, I'm a defensive mind. Like I love playing defense, so. Just being able to hear it, like just hearing that I'm a bad defender, like that
rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah, that made me mad.
Yeah, man. I mean, so let's say, is there a couple guys you looking forward to as far as dream matchups? Obviously, if you get out on the court, like that you're looking forward to go at and guarding.
I mean, obviously LeBron, Jimmy Butler, my teammate Isaac Jones.
Okay.
think, I already kind of guarded him. Jared McCain.
Yeah.
Another Sacramento guy.
Yeah.
It's probably the main ones.
Okay. Well, let me get into more of my, I guess, quote unquote, hot takes, juicy questions or whatever. I like I spoke on earlier, I'm big on trying to elevate Sacramento. That's a huge goal of mine, right? Even though I'm originally from Oakland, but, Oakland, Sacramento homes, you know what I mean? And I'm big on trying to elevate the basketball scene out here. And also I'm big on trying to work together and unify Sacramento. I feel it's in a place where it's semi-unified and semi-divided, like people are kind of choosing their own camps. My overall thing I would love to see is like, 10 Sacramento studs all play under whatever Sacramento program. Obviously, those we all put our resources together to fund it, because that's always the biggest thing, is the financial side. And they go out there and they kill, you know what I mean? Instead of outsourcing to the Compton Magics, the Soldiers, whatnot. And that's not a knock on any of their programs or what do they do. I know those people personally, and I've had these same conversations to their face. I'm just biased, right? Like I just, I want to see us elevate and create something out here. What's your standpoints on that? Or if you have any at all, or your thoughts on something like that?
Yeah, I feel like you see a lot of people that started in Sacramento that go somewhere else and they blow up, which I feel like that shouldn't have to be the case, which it is the case in a lot of times. But
take your time, man.
I don't even know. But
man, take your time, man. It's all about just your thoughts. I don't know what it's going to take to get everybody to work together. I think the biggest thing is getting rid of egos. I think a lot of people have egos in this, and a lot of people, I don't know if you've experienced anything like this, but like basically once you got drafted, right? And I only speak on some of this because like my younger brother's in the NFL. So I've seen kind of things from his, and he's still in the NFL. He's been in the NFL like 14, 15 years. And, all of a sudden he's getting phone calls from people he ain't heard from in forever. He's getting text messages from people he ain't heard from forever. It seems to be like there's always this constant, I want to attach myself, to somebody, which I think is just true in all the sports, you know what I mean? Because everybody's looking to like get ahead somehow, some way. I think maybe sometimes in Sac there's a lot of that, and that's what kind of discourages people from working together.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to just like media too. I feel like a lot of basketball has just become social media and the cameras. Like even like college sports, like you see schools get into conferences, not because of how competitive they are, but Washington State, we went to March Madness and now we don't have a conference.
Right.
So I think a lot of it has to do with money and like media. And I think, you don't really have crazy, like Ball is Life is not coming to Sacramento.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a, yeah.
We have, I think Simply Basketball.
Simply Basketball, they're the ones
thing.
Doing our biggest platform.
But even they're in like the Bay Area kind of. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Like we don't have like a crazy big platform. Ball's Life are always in LA, Florida, or whatever it is. So I think that can be one of the things that, that kind of sets us back.
And and that's the thing, trying to create our own market, create our own lane, which is tough, but it's just one of those things you got to work at day in, day out. How are you adjusting to, this quote unquote NBA life now? Because it hasn't even like necessarily started for you, but it has, you know what I mean? Like we were joking about earlier, all the kids coming up to you, just happy to meet you and take photos with you. And, you seem to be handling it all really well. I'm sure your followers on social media them blown up, you go from a few thousand to, 10,000+. Like, it's like, how has this transition been for you?
It hasn't been that bad. Honestly, I forget sometimes that I'm in the NBA. I was in Vegas and I was just like, I'm hungry. I went down to the food court in the Vegas hotel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all these people are coming up to me.
And you're like, what are y'all coming up?
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's just a bad decision. Like, but yeah, just probably just got to remember.
Right. That you're in the league a little bit.
That's the best idea. But I think the biggest thing for me is just getting settled, like all the non-basketball stuff, getting all that taken care of. That's probably taking most of my time right now. It's just anything that's not basketball that I need to like house, getting my paychecks figured out and where I'm gonna put the money and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
once I get all that non-basketball stuff figured out, I think everything will be pretty smooth.
Well, man, like I said, you got a level head on your shoulders, man, and I know you got a good family support. What do you think of, there's this another one, a topic I bring up quite often, but, with college and NIL, the kids getting paid, people making money. Like, a good example I keep bringing up is because he was a Sacramento kid, was Coleman Hawkins. Coleman decided to go back to school. But they said he has, now again, who knows the truth, but they say, he has like a $2 million NIL deal and things like that. I mean, it's pretty surreal. You know what I mean? Like, people can be in college and make some dough. What's your overall thoughts on that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of similar to like choosing an AAU team. Like, it's kind of like what you're looking for. I think it's good because, I mean, there's some players that probably won't ever get paid that amount ever again.
Right.
But if you're going to if you can go to the NBA, I feel like going to a school just because of the money isn't the right decision. I mean, like, Washington State didn't have the greatest NIL, but I think I think it's good that we can get paid, but I think also people are just making decisions for money. I think taking the cut on your paycheck now and being able to have the chance to develop in the right system and being able to get the NBA money later. Like, I feel like you shouldn't be making decisions based off money. But I also think it's good, for example, like you said, Coleman Hawkins getting paid $2 million.
Yeah.
And he still has a chance to be in the NBA next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then there's guys that, they've been in college for fifth year, going into their sixth year. Maybe they might be too old to even get into the NBA or too short or whatever it is. And I think it's good for them. They get to be a college superstar, make $1.5 million, and then go play overseas or something.
Yeah.
Like I think that's good.
No doubt. Like, yeah, no, it's very interesting. I'm trying to word this correctly. With NIL and the potential money that a lot of kids are making, like you said, you have to use discernment on what's best for you, right? You have to figure out, okay, is it better if I go for money if I know I'm not making it to the league? But, do I only want to chase the money? Do you think we're going to start to lose the spirit of the game, which is, about competing and winning? Do you think that's something that could potentially get lost at the collegiate level is what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like the money might make it more about competing and winning, honestly.
Okay.
Because now schools are literally buying players.
Right.
So it kind of makes it like an NBA. Like, there's no joke in the NBA. If you're not performing, you're out.
Yeah.
Because they're paying for you.
Yeah.
So I think now that they're paying for players in college, it's kind of like the same thing. Like,
okay.
If we're giving you $200,000 this year and you suck, we're not giving you $200,000 again. So go and transfer.
Right. So you think it's like added that, putting that pressure on, like, hey, we're giving you this check. You got to get it done. Yeah.
But then it's like the schools that are disadvantaged don't have that can't pay the $100,000s and $1 millions. Like, I think it kind of might take away the competing for them.
Right.
Just because they're not going to be able to get the greatest players.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, but there's levels for everybody, right? And then statistically, again, I speak on this on the show, only 7% of high school athletes get to play any level of college. Only 7% of varsity athletes. So I tell kids all the time, or young men like yourself, like, listen, if you did 2 years at JUCO and that's it, yeah, maybe you want to go further. Maybe it didn't work out for whatever reason. But even the fact that you did 2 years at JUCO puts you in a very, very small group, because a lot of high school guys don't play after high school.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep it in perspective like that, because I think sometimes people have this notion of D1 or bust, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just doesn't work that way. Like I said, you're living proof. It doesn't always work out the glamorous way, but it's about the work and the discipline, right? If you could speak to kids and parents right now who are listening, what's some advice you would give these kids and parents that, we'll go kids first, then parents, but I'm saying kids that are hearing this or checking this out on YouTube and they're like, man, I want to try to be that. What are like maybe 2 or 3 things you think they should hear from you?
Yeah, I think it all starts with your work ethic. You just gotta want to be better. Obviously, no coach wants a player that's only in there just for practice and just to have the gear and just have a jersey on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it just comes from that and just having a good attitude throughout. Not everything's going to go your way. Just being able to find the positives and the negatives. If you're not getting playing time, well, at least you're going to be the first one to stand up when the player gets subbed out. You're going to be like, even if you're not playing the game, what are you going to do to help your team win?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's big on being that type of player. And also just kind of just run your own race. Don't be worried about the media and if you're not getting mixtapes now,
Right.
or I didn't get my first mixtape. It was like a Simply Basketball mixtape, and I was probably my junior year.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really. It's important in a sense, but it's not really important when you're young because it's all about where you end. Obviously, I didn't start when I started. Not many people thought I was going to be where I'm at.
Right.
But it's kind of, you just got to run your own race, take your own path. It doesn't matter how slow it is, just got to, it's about the finish line, not what's happening in between, just got to keep going forward, whatever it is, just keep pushing forward.
Okay. And then what would you say to parents of kids, because that's the big controversial thing with AAU, parents are insane. I'm sure even you can remember in your AAU games some parents in the crowd that you're like, what the hell is wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like, I can tell you it's gotten worse. It's gotten better in some instances, it's gotten worse. I will, I say some parents and kids have gotten softer. I'm a tough coach, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember seeing me coach when you were younger, but I'm a tough coach, you know what I mean? I teach the game in the new style of the play and how fast it is, and the 4-out, 1-in, the 5-out. I teach college schemes. I teach a system type of play, right? Even in AAU, it's not the roll the ball out there, do whatever you want shit. I don't teach that, but I'm still a cut from like the Bobby Knight, the Greg Popovich. I got some old school grit in me because just quite honestly, that's the Oakland in me. That's how we grew up. So some parents can vibe with that, some can't. Right. So, they're like, well, my son feels like you don't like him. It's like, well, did I tell him I didn't like him? No. Well, then I'm sorry he feels that way because I screamed at him to make a left hand layup or practice a left. I think sometimes I know for a fact parents confuse tough coaching with personal attacks. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if I disrespect your child and attack them, then by all means I fucked up. I did wrong and I can wear that. But if I just simply, if I got 12-year-old Jalen Wells and you struggling to make left-hand layups and I'm screaming at you, hey, you need to go practice left-hand layups. Yeah. I know your dad's not coming at me thinking like, don't you yell at my son. Like, no, he's like, you damn right, you need to go practice your left-hand layups, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just letting your kid be themselves. Like, let them react themselves to whatever that criticism was. Like, even like Coach Wall is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the things my dad loved about him was that like he was so passionate about winning. And he would do anything. Like we went to before I went to Folsom High School, we went to a high school game. I think it was when Jordan Ford was playing.
Nice.
And they weren't playing too well. He was throwing a fit on the bench. He was yanking players out.
I've seen Mike Wall flip out.
Yeah. And that was kind of one of the things my dad loved. Like he's real. Like he's a real person. Like he's gonna be real with you when you're playing basketball. So I think that's one of the biggest things, just letting your kid be criticized and not always having their back when a coach is getting on them. Allow them to be able to react their own way, figure their things out on themselves. Maybe they shed a tear. Oh well, do they go back? Do they go back and to that same coach, keep playing and try to get better? So I think it's a lot of it, just letting your kid be able to self-motivate himself.
Okay.
Obviously parents got to sacrifice a lot of time, putting your kid in the right position, taking them to practice, or do it, whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, it's about what's inside them.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't push them their whole career.
Right.
So I think that just kind of lets you know if they want it or not.
Yeah. And I think it's just life lessons. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I'm a big firm believer that if the only thing I'm teaching you is basketball, then I'm not doing my job. I want to teach these young kids that I'm fortunate enough to coach. I want to teach them life lessons too. You know what I mean? And one thing, 15, 20 years from now when the ball stops bouncing for you, you're going to, you know what I mean? You're going to appreciate these life lessons you've learned along the way. One thing, Jay, you've definitely shown is, fucking perseverance and just an unwavering ability to work hard, for what you want. And that's something that's just going to help you in life. You know what I mean? That's just the older man in me talking to you, but that's going to be significant in your success in life. And I'm big on teaching that. I'm just be real, teaching young black men that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm biased in that too. I want to teach young brothers to learn to work hard, be successful, do things the right way. Yes, someone's not always going to be there to say, do you feel better? Or you got to pick yourself up and wipe your tears off and keep going. Do you think some of the kids are maybe a little mentally softer or, not able to be critiqued as much as even when you were playing?
Yeah, I'd probably say so. There's like a lot of coaches that you go back and you're like that's how you treating them now? Like, you didn't screw them like that.
Yeah, you're like, you nicer now. Kai gave me shit the other day. But he was like, you too nice now, Chris. Why you so? I'm like, dude, they're just not built the same.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? If you have any clue or any guess?
I don't really know. I'd say social media.
Okay.
I mean, everything you do on social media, everything's critiqued these days. Like, everything's recorded. Everything's on camera. Everyone has an opinion.
Right. And I think nobody wants to be on the receiving negative side of all that, right? But that's not life. You know what I mean? It's if you're trying to be liked by everybody, to me, you're not doing anything significant, because there's someone that's not going to like something you're doing. Especially if it's positive, you know what I mean? There's always people that are going to hate on positivity. It's just the nature of life. What I wanted to ask you or just circle back in my head about the kids and sometimes the adjustment or the evolution of what's going on. What do you think might be the next, let me rephrase this, with basketball basically becoming worldwide popular, right? The Olympics showed that, and the skill level and the abilities of people. I just had Isaiah on my IG Live show yesterday, and we were talking about that with him playing with the Puerto Rico national team and all that stuff. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what do you think basketball is going to evolve into? Now there's like such a worldwide popular sport.
I feel like, there's so many talented players today. I think even the league's going to expand, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be another league that's similar, maybe not same level as competition, but very similar.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably still making. No one's gonna make NBA.
NBA money is,
but it's something
still
close to
it. Yeah.
I feel like just in a different country, maybe like Spain or whatever it is. I feel like there's just enough players for that now.
Yeah,
to where there would be I don't know, what's the top league in Spain?
It's like Regional A1 or something like that. Just like in Australia, they have the NBL, the National Basketball League. That's their top league.
I feel like one of those top leagues starts slowly catching up to the NBA, and you'll see guys play in that rather than the NBA.
Yeah.
Now there's actually a real decision, where do you want to play,
and making good money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, I agree. I agree with you. Hold on. Sorry, y'all, turning my IG Live on real quick. So get a few quick questions from anybody checking it out on the IG Live side. So what's up? If you are looking at the IG Live, I'm going to be on live for about 10, 15 minutes. If you got some questions, go ahead, type them in. Go ahead, ask Jalen while he's here. But in the meantime, we're going to keep rolling with the show. You can listen a little bit and chime in as you see fit. So I want to talk to you about the WNBA. I'm sure you see it just like all of us, the evolution of it. Caitlin Clark, obviously what she's done with the league. What's your overall outlook and thoughts on that?
I think it's really cool how far it's came. I've probably watched the most WNBA games I ever have this year.
Right.
I'm constantly looking at the scores, trying to see what Caitlin.
Yeah, for real.
Angel Reese, Asia Wilson. So yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. Do you Obviously, the biggest thing is, they want money, right? They want to get paid. They want to get paid. They want to get paid. I talked about it on my last show, well, a few shows, but the one I recently talked about was when Marcellus was here. And, I said, if you want to see the WNBA thrive, we got to get butts in the seats. Right. It's just the reality of it. I encourage young women hoopers, especially girls like that, go watch these players, go watch them hoop, go watch them play. That's the easiest and best way to support them. Is that something, if you get an opportunity to do, is that something you think you might start doing too, going to the games and kind of trying to show support that way?
Yeah, I was actually kind of sad, like Memphis doesn't have a close WNBA team.
Yeah.
I definitely went, during my pre-draft process, I was trying, because I was gone for 2 months in cities. I was trying my hardest to catch a WNBA game, but I just couldn't, nothing lined up at the same time.
Yeah, no, but I think it's cool. In the Bay, they're going to start the Valkyries, right? So that'll be another team. I know ultimately I would love to see another WNBA team make it out here, like when they had the Monarchs. You know what I mean? I think Sacramento has the market for it, right? Especially with the arena downtown and whatnot. So no, I think it's in a good spot. What do you think, if you have an opinion on some of the hate that Caitlin Clark seems to receive from the league? Kind of like they don't outwardly say it, but I think sometimes there's a little bit of hate there. And I like Cheryl Swoops has just got in the media because they were like, oh, she has. I don't fucking know all that. I'm just saying from what I've observed and seen, it seems like some people really love Caitlin and what she's brought to the organization, like Indiana Fever and all that, and the league as a whole. And there seems to be some people that have issue with it. So I'm just curious from your thoughts on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious. You can't deny what she's done for the league.
Yeah.
Obviously, numbers have skyrocketed. I obviously feel like she's a part of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's other players, Angela Reese. There's a lot of other new rookies that help that too. But yeah, I mean, I feel like part of it, it's that rookie treatment.
Yeah.
I feel like she's getting a little bit of that rookie treatment. A little bit it's overboard.
Right.
But I think it's still a competitive league. They're not just going to let a rookie come in and
and take all the shine, right?
And I think obviously there's going to be haters. There's going to be people who love her. Not comparing her to LeBron, but I'm just kind of like LeBron. Some people think he's the greatest player of all time. Some people think he's the softest person of all time.
Right.
So I mean, I think when you're that impactful as Caitlin Clark, obviously you're gonna have extreme haters and you're gonna have extreme people who love you. So that's kind of what it is.
Okay, and. Well, yeah, I think that's my only thoughts on that. Really, I mean, I want to just see the league keep growing, and because I have a daughter, you know what I mean. I want to see these young women have aspirations. I train, plenty of young women and young girls that have aspirations to make it pro. So I would love to see the league grow and thrive, and have one right here back home in the backyard. So. That's my soapbox stance. People get to the games and get in the seats and, help it thrive. For you, circling back, just, kind of the summer league and what you've experienced thus far. I only have a few more questions before we get out of here, but, playing in that environment, right? Kind of looking forward to your first preseason game out on that court and things like that, getting used to the travel. Like you said, you've been flying all over the place and things like that. What's been the biggest challenge, or has there been a challenge for you with all that?
I wouldn't say, I haven't really been facing too many challenges. Obviously, getting used to those flights. I mean, at least you're flying first class a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all of them are actually first class. So, so in pre-drafts, they obviously organize the flights for you.
Yeah.
There's some organizations where, they're really about their stuff. They're going to put you in first class. They're going to put you in the best hotel room.
Right.
And then there's some organizations that you're in the back corner, middle seat.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, getting off those flights, it's tough. As far as your body,
and getting used to the time zones and all that stuff.
You'll work out. You'll be in the facility from about 10 to 3. They're taking you straight to the airport.
Oh, wow.
You fly into the next city, wake up the next day. Now you got to work out again, 10 to 3. So that was definitely taxing on the body. But I actually think one of the greatest things for me was just at Sonoma State. Like I said, like I was doing literally everything.
So you kind of self-taught
So like
how to take care of yourself?
Yeah. So being by myself and having just to take care of myself every single day without like staff and everything was it was kind of like second nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that for 2 years.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, that wasn't really too hard for me. Like,
So it's like you basically like you learned to, Kobe said it, listen to your body.
Yeah.
Right. You learn to listen to your body, which is great. That's a great skill. That's going to help you big time. So can you talk to me about the game you had in Vancouver? Was that like a summer league thing or
it was
what?
like a little pro-am game in Vancouver. My agent's from Vancouver, so
Okay.
It was kind of like a little vacation all in one.
Nice.
But yeah, I actually didn't think I was gonna be able to play. I was having back spasms,
Okay.
and I was like trotting up the court at the start of the game. But it was cool because you got to play. Shaden Sharp was there. Malachi Flynn was on my team. But it was a cool environment. Like it was like you heard Simon Fraser University?
No, I haven't heard them.
But yeah, it's kind of like their gym was kind of like a big high school gym. So like the environment was like the stands, like it was packed.
Yeah.
A whole lot of kids there. It was just great energy.
Yeah, no, I saw the video and saw it was cool. And well, it's funny you said you had back spasm, dropped 50 points. So
Yeah.
And I guess once the adrenaline was pumping, you was like, screw it. I mean, that's what I mean. Because you've had these scoring outbursts, kind of throughout your career for sure, like after your senior year of high school and collegiately and whatnot. When you're in that mode, does it just come naturally? Do you is it a feeling you have for the game, or you just kind of like, boom, a couple go in, bang, bang, and then now you like, it just feels good. You know what I mean? We all know as hoopers what we talk like when we're in that zone, but I'm just saying like you seem to catch it at the right times, man. Like, is it what?
Yeah, I feel like I catch it at the right time just because I'm not a player who forces it.
Okay.
I'm not going to force myself into the zone. Like I'll naturally get in the zone, playing defense, get a couple steals here, get a dunk. And that's how I get in the zone. So I feel like a lot of it just comes naturally. And I mean, obviously I've been a shooter my whole life. So
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of just second nature, being able to shoot those shots. But yeah, I think a lot, that's one of the biggest things, not just being like a shot chucker and just going out there and, hopefully I make my first three step back 3 pointers and then I'll be hot for the rest of the game.
Right.
I kind of like to get hot. That's like outside of offense.
Yeah. So like through the flow of the game, right? Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, I think that's good to hear because a lot of my youth athletes, and maybe some are watching right now. Let me see my live, see if anybody's asking. Okay, yeah, a few people looking, but no, some of the kids might be looking at stuff or listening to this. I think, like you said, because of the social media aspect and the highlight culture, you do have a lot of athletes trying to force things instead of just letting the flow of the game, come to them. How important do you think that is for some kid? Like, how important do you think it is there's a two-part question. How important do you think it is for developing youth athletes to learn the flow of the game and at the same time have a high IQ of the game?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously really cool to be that flashy player. There's a lot of very skilled players that don't make it at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Because coaches don't really want that. For example, like going into the league, like they wouldn't want me if I was a person who needs the ball the whole time, and they already have Jaw.
No doubt.
So why do they need me to have the ball all the time as a rookie? So they need those 3-and-D players. They need the people that just know how to play their role and take their own opportunities when they have it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just as important just to make it at the next level. Coaches aren't really looking for. They're not. I mean, they could be, but they're not always looking for that score that is going to come off 5 ball screens of possession and chuck a shot up. But yeah, like you said, like if you look at my high school mixtapes, they suck. I'm probably the most boring mixtape.
Hey man, boring as my man Bernard Seal said, boring drills pay the bills. So that's all right. So, and that was kind of my last NBA question for you is, have you had a chance to meet Ja or talk to him or,
No. So when I was down there for about 3 weeks just working out. It was more just like first and second year players. So, I mean, Jake LaRavia, Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard was there, Zach Edey, Cam Spencer, of course. Probably the only vet was there was Marcus Smart.
Okay.
He came for about 3 or 4 days. and then I think he's probably just working on his own.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you got a chance to kind of sit and talk with these guys and things like that.
Jaren Jackson. Met him at like a 2K event. It was pretty cool.
Nice. And overall, the vibe feels cool. I mean, I'm sure, like you said, you're the rookie, so they're going to give you a little bit of crap. But like,
it's a young team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You guys are a young team.
Only vets is like Marcus Smart. Is he considered a vet?
I guess because this got to be his 9th year.
Okay, yeah.
9th, 10th year.
Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose. That's probably the only 2 vets I can think of.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to kind of getting out on the court with a player like Ja? And
definitely, especially just knowing I'm a player that really excels at my role. I think I really play well with him.
No, yeah, I think that's gonna be really cool to see. Obviously, see someone I personally know out there doing their thing and going out there killing it. Is there anything? I only have a few more questions for you, but I'm just saying, is there any news or anything you want to get out there? And if not, do you have any interests or things that you personally have an interest in outside of hoop that maybe, people don't know about, or things that, that you might enjoy? Because I'm big on this show on humanizing you guys. I know we can, from the outside looking in, people could just look at you like you're just a basketball machine. But it's like, I'm trying to humanize you, man. Like, what other interests might you have outside of hoop?
I got 2 things. One, I like editing videos. I just started a YouTube channel where it was like I took my mom's old camera.
Yeah.
I just took it around throughout the Washington State season.
Okay.
So I just had a bunch of like behind the scenes footage.
Nice.
So I've been making videos of that because it's called like the Crimson Chronicles. So it's going to have like 4 or 5 parts.
Very cool.
So I just like make editing videos every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then Sleep Nation. I don't know if y'all know AD. It's like a movement that for players that are underrated. So it kind of relates to me and his story.
Yeah.
We used to do like open runs and record the runs and then make videos for them. Just kind of getting it out there, get the Sacramento community together, and just kind of highlight overlooked players that I feel like they should be highlighted. So I'm gonna start putting a lot more time into that.
Okay.
Me and AD
trying to provide that platform. That's what Marcellus, is doing at ARC. So it's that's what I'm saying. I feel like we're all in, and obviously me with this little podcast of mine, but I feel like we're all in our own way trying to put more and more spotlight on the Sacramento scene, which is great to have. Dill, I'm trying to think before I forget the last couple things. Like I said, I memorize my script all the time, but no. Well, outside of those ventures and things like that, have you ever thought of what you might, have you ever thought of when you stop playing? Would you have ever think of coaching or going into training or anything like that yourself?
I think one of the biggest things I stopped playing would be start like Sleep Nation, whatever it is, like making it like a service or, helping be like a recruiting service or just, something in Sacramento that brings people together, brings hoopers together, have like big camps and just start like a good community throughout Sleep Nation and expanding it.
Okay. Something you got me thinking of with the social media aspect. More and more kids, I think, need to hear from guys like you that, it's not all about the highlights that can get you noticed. What do you find when you're playing, like you said, getting yourself going, getting yourself scoring and stuff? Do you break things down like simplistically as you play or in your mind? You know what I mean? Like I'll give an example. Like I tell my kids, listen, if you want to be a double guy, right? You want to score 10 points a game. Well, 10 points is 5 layups. That's when you start breaking it down to the kids like that, they're like, oh yeah, that's true. It's like, it's 5 layups. I can guarantee you could probably get one of those layups if you get an offensive rebound, right? If you do that twice, that's 4 points right there. If you do a backdoor cut, you got 6 points. If you can make a mid-range shot, like a mid-range shot, that's 10 points. If you can catch and shoot a 3, there you go. You're at 11, right? As for you, is that kind of your process and your scoring, or is it just kind of like, no, I get to this spot, I'm good scoring here? Like, I'm just curious on your take on how you score out there, how you get a feel for scoring out there.
A little bit, but I rarely think about like how much I'm going to score. So that's not really like something that goes through my mind. But But that's actually exactly what my dad used to say.
Oh, bro. Okay.
Like, because Folsom's offense is really like structured,
Mhm.
like a lot of cuts and everything. So he used to be like, okay, like if you want to get 20 points, you're obviously going to get to the foul line 2 or 3 times. You make 4 or 5 free throws. That's already 5 points. You're going to get the 3. You're going to get 2 3-pointers. That's another 6 points right there. And then just out of the offense, you're going to get 2 backdoor cuts, a curl, that's another 6 points, and then you're going to get a fast break,
Right.
20 right there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I used to think of it.
Yeah, just break it down. It's funny, like
That's nothing, like that's not even a highlight too.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, say you get hot, now you got an extra. You score 3 in a row.
yeah.
Now you got an extra 6 points again, and now you got a really good high scoring game.
You're just breaking it down simply. Talk to me about draft night. That was what I wanted to ask you about. The atmosphere, the anticipation. Did you have any nervousness in there? I mean, just kind of, what was that experience like?
I think some of the nervousness was taken away just because I knew I was going to get drafted.
Okay.
But I didn't know what kind of contract I was going to get. So
Right.
that was probably one of the biggest things that was up in the air.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was 2 days this year. I went to the first day, didn't get drafted. So it's kind of weird. Like you go there, you're ready for draft day,
Right.
and you don't get drafted. So now you can go back to your hotel, sleep on it. But then, so the second day, it's at a different venue.
Mm-hmm.
It's called like an ESPN facility along the water. So you go in, and there's like a waiting room. There's
Okay.
a waiting room, and then you have I think it's like the green room,
Mhm.
which is like the whole setup.
Yeah.
Everyone starts off in the waiting room, and then when the draft starts, they take like 7 players down into the green room.
Okay.
They think they're going to get like first 7 picks. So
Right.
They're already ready down there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a part of that first 7. So I'm just sitting in the waiting room, just watching on the TV. And it gets to about the 37th pick. And my agent's telling me like, okay, like we're probably going to the Clippers at
Okay.
46.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll probably go down to the green room around
Yeah.
pick 38, 39.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to LA. And then it gets to pick 38, and they're like, okay, you're probably gonna get picked at 46, so let's take you down.
Right.
So they're taking me down. Pick 38 goes by, and now it's like Memphis is on the clock, and so my agent didn't know that I was going to Memphis before I walked down. So
Oh, wow.
the agents don't go with you.
Yeah.
It's just me, my mom, my dad, and my little cousin.
Okay.
So we're walking down to the green room, and we're all thinking, okay, we're going to LA.
Yeah.
6. We'll probably sit down here for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess they call my agent, say, we're about to draft your guy in the middle of like pick number 39. So we're walking down still. We have no idea. The ESPN lady runs into like the stairway. She's like,
Yeah.
you're getting picked right now. Like, so hurry up. So, like,
And
throw my-
you're
I throw
probably like,
my-
what?
yeah, I don't even know who pick 39 is. So I throw my water bottle. Me and my family are just like running through the hallway.
Yeah.
And then we sit down at the table, like where they showed the camera.
Yeah.
That was like 5 seconds after we sat down.
Oh, wow.
So I literally sat down, stood right back up. And yeah, I didn't even know Memphis was pick 39. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't know until the logo showed up.
Yeah.
When they called my name. So yeah, that was a crazy experience.
And see, people don't know the behind the
Yeah.
scenes. They just see the after effect, right?
Yeah.
When you heard your name, can you talk about, maybe some of the emotions you felt, some of the, things that were flashing in your head? Obviously I'm like you said, your mom and your dad were there. I'm sure you looking at them, hugging your moms, hugging pops, like, can you talk about that feeling? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was surreal. I blacked out a little bit. If you watch the interview, like
Mhm.
right when I got drafted,
Yeah.
I think I say something that's not related to the. I didn't hear the question,
Right.
so I kind of just said like something in general that might answer it.
Hey, but at
yeah.
least you're being real. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I think my parents didn't even know what to think. Like they knew I was gonna get drafted, but like actually hearing it and experience it
Yeah.
and hearing my name, it's kind of crazy. I mean, you work 20 years for this one moment,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of times where you don't even know if it's actually going to be true,
Right.
and then it finally comes true, and yeah.
I mean, I know I text you too, I think, like, said congratulations and stuff, but how many messages did you get?
Yeah,
Are you still opening them right now?
I think my phone died on the way home.
Oh,
like my
man.
phone just kept turning on and off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I tried to get it back to everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot.
So you got drafted next day, right? Like you said, turn your phone on, the realization's in, oh crap, I just got picked up by an NBA team. Like, you wake up that next day, what's the thoughts going through your head?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I answer that, one of the texts I actually got right when I got drafted, it said, "Congrats, bro! Like, go Grizz" or something like that.
Mhm.
But -12. I'm thinking like, it's 12.
Yeah.
Like, what random number just text? And I was like, oh, and I realized it's John Morant.
It was John. Oh, it was John.
I was like, who? Like,
Who?
-12.
Right. It's like, oh crap, that's John.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's crazy.
But yeah, I woke up the next day, and I mean, a lot more messages.
Right.
But I mean, we had to fly right to Memphis. But yeah, it was kind of just crazy. Just I mean, like when you see things like, oh, Memphis Grizzlies followed you, or
Yeah.
Memphis Grizzlies posted you or tagged you,
Right.
and you're getting all these like followers from your teammates and everything. Like it's
No,
there's like those little
okay.
things that like you don't really like think about.
Yeah.
And then it happens, and then yeah, it just makes it feel crazy.
Yeah, no. Like I said, this is a unique opportunity to really talk to someone who's in, real time experiencing this. So that's why I'm asking these questions, because just quite honestly, shit, I don't know anybody that just got drafted like other than you, but like, so what did your dad or your mother say anything to you that like really stuck with you from that night, or, or was it just having their presence, helped a lot?
Yeah, I think just their presence in general. 'Cause I mean, they're always present throughout my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to just experiencing with them was probably the greatest feeling.
And did you ever because every hooper, especially, ball players that really love this game, we always have in the back of my mind, we want to play pro, we want to play pro, we want to play pro. But like, did you ever at some point start to believe or see like, what, this might really happen for me? You know what I mean? Or did you just know at an early age this is something you wanted to aspire to do? I mean, be good at basketball, I'm sure you always want to aspire, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
make it to the NBA.
I mean, obviously, in the back of my mind, I always wanted to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
When I really felt like it's really closest for me to reach for it, it's probably just transferring to Washington State, knowing I have that platform, knowing that it's literally just up to me. Like, I have the platform to get there. The person a year before did it. So I mean, it's really up to me. Just that's probably one of my biggest motivations, was just knowing that I made it out of, where people weren't really watching me. Now I have, scouts are watching me and all this. So I mean, I just had to perform.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably one of the biggest things. But I think going to Sonoma State my freshman year, like I said, obviously back of my mind, I'm thinking NBA. But the front of my mind, I'm thinking, all right, 4 years at Sonoma State, probably play overseas, have a good career overseas. Hopefully I'll sneak into the G League and get into the NBA. But yeah, that's honestly what I was thinking.
Yeah, no.
A good I'm thinking I'm gearing up for my senior year.
Yeah.
For Sonoma State right now, trying to win a CCAA championship.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what it would have. Well, like I said, that's what it would have been. Like, no.
I think the craziest part about all of it was kind of just knowing that I didn't have a full scholarship my freshman year, and then the second semester I finally got bumped to a full scholarship, which I'm actually really thankful for, because they didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah.
Because second semester is not even basketball season.
Right. No doubt.
So it really went out his way and just said, like, yeah, we have some extra
Like,
money
we'll cover you. Yeah.
And he knew, kind of knew I was already out the door.
Yeah.
So he really just did out the kind, like.
But that's good that he supported you like that, because, you hear stories of college coaches more or less, doing the opposite. Like, they're kind of like, yeah, screw you. You want to leave. But it's really cool.
Sonoma's probably my biggest supporter in leaving.
That's really cool, man.
Just being able to, they knew they didn't have resources that other could offer. So,
right.
So yeah, I was grateful for that.
No, and can you speak on that a little bit too? That question just kind of popped up in my mind, is maybe tell kids, maybe, and this is more, I guess, speaking to high school kids and parents, the importance of, you know, taking opportunities instead of, I guess, you know, I alluded to earlier, D1 or bust, or you know what I mean? Like maybe you can speak to them about, you know, the importance of really looking at the opportunities in front of you.
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like if I didn't choose to go D2, I probably wouldn't be here. Because it's just so important to get to a place that wants to develop you, man. It wants you as an actual person in their program, and is going to actually every day want you to get better. Because even if I did, like I said, 4 years at Sonoma State,
yeah,
and I went pro, like that's a great career.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of people haven't done that.
Yeah, and you still get your education.
Exactly.
Like, that's another part of it too.
Graduate with a degree. I'm able to play basketball and get paid.
Yes.
So I don't want people to like think, oh, let's go D2 to go D1.
Mm-hmm.
Like that wasn't my mindset at all.
Right.
Like I honestly thought I was gonna be there all 4 years.
That's cool. Again, you saying that is big, because I think that will resonate with a lot of kids in your situation.
It was really cool because one of my first, it was like a second pre-draft workout. It was with the guy who played all D2.
Really?
But his name was Kelvin James. He went to like a really good D2 and I want to say like the East Coast or one of those. And he was just like telling me why he stayed at D2, and he was just like he built a lot, and like they just love him there. And it was just the right place for him to like develop. He didn't end up getting drafted, but I think he has like some opportunities for like
overseas or something like that. Yeah.
Or even like G League.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that was really cool too. Just being able to another D2 guy, being able to work out with him. That was pretty cool.
And but like I said, before we close out of here, for the kid that says, I want to make it to the NBA. I want to be a Jalen Wells, you know. I want to be a kid from Sac who makes it pro. I want that. Like, you know, because some kids, they're going to flat out just want that. And I do think that starts, you know, that's the start of anything. You got to have a desire, right? Will it always happen? Of course not. There's going to be more that don't make it than that do, right? But it still comes from somewhere. I want you to maybe give a few words to that kid that's listening and is like, you know, I want to be pro. Like what advice can you give them? What words of encouragement? You know, what could you say to that kid?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways you just have to be different. I mean, a lot of times you can tell a kid that's different than the rest of the team. Those hard workers that's always in the gym, you know, they're not skipping reps. I mean, you can kind of just tell. I mean, there's a lot of players that when you're young, they might seem like, I mean, they grow faster than you, or they might be stronger than you at the moment. But at the end of the day, you're all gonna hit your growth. You're all gonna hit puberty. You're all gonna, you know, get that testosterone. And so when that happens, who's really gonna be the best?
Right.
You know? I mean, it doesn't even matter about your height. But yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, you just got to work until you get that opportunity. Once you get the opportunity, you just got to shine. I was gonna say something. Oh, back to the Sonoma D2 thing.
Yeah,
I think like some kids just are trying to send their kid D1. Just hopefully they'll make it out of there. And for basketball, I think they're not all just looking for basketball.
Right.
I think sometimes you got to look at like their life. Not everyone's going to make the NBA.
Yeah, of course.
So you're sending your kid to D1. They don't really want them there, and they end up transferring 2 or 3 schools, and you've never really been in a place where they really wanted you there. So I think like D2, or not even just D2, but just finding a place that really wants you there for all 4 years.
Yeah.
And whether it's you be 1 and done, 2 and done, doesn't really matter, but just finding a place that actually wants you there for all 4 years. And wants to develop you and wants you to graduate.
Oh man, that's really well. My last question for you before we cut out, it's an AAU question. I want to circle back to AAU. When your dad had you playing AAU and stuff, did he have you playing like up all the time? I know that's just one of those topics where they're like, oh, every kid play up. But I'm just saying, did he do that as well?
Yeah, I definitely always played up. I played, but I also I made sure to play my
your age, right? You did both, right?
Like for example, I play on this team called Cobras. Sometimes I would even play 2 grades up.
Okay.
That's just to battle with big people. Yeah. But really, like when you work on your game, you know, play against people your age so that, you know, you can actually be successful and know what's successful. And then, I mean, it's obviously great to play against older people all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think obviously just you want to play up, but you also want to play your age. So,
right.
You know, you can actually gain some confidence.
Yeah. I think because the only reason I bring that up is, like I said, this show is mainly geared towards that. But on top of that, as a coach and everything, I play my kids up and things like that, but I also play them at their own age group. But I think some parents are getting too swept up in that like play up field. Like they're talking like, you have like some of these little second and third graders playing against fifth graders. It's like that kid's body is so small and fragile. You know what I mean?
It's fifth graders that held back to you.
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. I try to tell parents.
Me playing my own grade was me playing up.
At
some points, because it was just like everyone held back.
Exactly.
I'm young for my grade anyways.
Yeah. No. And it's funny enough, because that's probably the good thing. It was funny when Jordan was on the show, we talked about that. We said it's pretty interesting right now because of the pandemic and things like that, colleges kind of want older kids, but the league still actually wants you younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a tough balancing act right now. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, if you just basically, I guess if you're a kid that feels like, I'm not going to make it to the league, but I could have a good college career. Okay, do I reclass and, I guess get a little bigger, faster, stronger? But let's say you're a kid that, you look at, hey, like a Cooper Flagg, that's just a kid comes up and he reclassed up to hurry up and get out of there because the way it's looking, he's more than likely going to make it to the league, right?
Yeah.
So, I think parents got to use some real like tactical thinking in their strategy now. Reclassing when you played was a thing, just like it's a bigger and bigger thing now. I think it's gotten too far, me personally. That's just my personal take. And when you have 16-year-olds in the 8th grade, I just think that's just ridiculous. You're going into your freshman year as a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? And I just at some point this is going to come. This is going to come to a boiling point where it's just getting out of hand, right? I just didn't know. Again, you're out of AAU, you're removed from this crap, so it's kind of like, what's your take on the whole like reclass, double reclass, triple reclass thing or whatever?
Yeah, I was told my whole middle school, high school career that I should have reclassed just because I was smaller than everyone and I was young for my grade. I'm really glad my parents never did it, just because, I mean, I could see if I sucked. Like,
yeah.
If I sucked and I just couldn't compete with my grade, but that wasn't the case. So I think, just reclassing strictly for basketball, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like, it's a clouded decision. You kind of just focused on one thing.
Yeah. And this is my overall take on it. I say, hey, if you got to reclass 1 year, okay, that's what you got to do. Yeah. It is. But again, I agree that it shouldn't solely be basketball. It can be, but, because some kids I've coached that reclass, they have maturity issues. Mm-hmm. They're just not mature enough to start high school yet. You know what I mean?
Immature and everything. Like, I can see that.
Right. But it's like, but there are some kids that I think reclassing is valid because, like you said, they're young. Mm-hmm. But like Kai was a young senior when he graduated and things like that. But again, it worked out for you, worked out for him. So, there's stories on every side. I keep advocating on this show, and I'm going to keep telling you guys, you have to use some strategy and use some discernment and critical thinking and do what's best for your kid, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best approach, Thank you again, Jay. I appreciate you being here, man.
No problem.
I know you got a busy schedule, so when do you get out of here, or when do you fly out?
I'll be Sunday.
Sunday? Okay. Are you so from here? Is it going straight to Memphis, training camp, right to work?
It's Memphis. We used to it's more. It'd be like workouts and open gym, and then training camp's not until like the first week of October.
Okay. Did you have any shout outs you wanted to do on the closing of the show, real quick?
Shout out to my mom and dad. Shout out to DeAndre. Shout out to AD. And shout out to Coach Alicia.
Okay. No, man, again, really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this, Jay. Obviously, I wish you nothing but success. I wish you nothing but the best. You're clearly more than have enough talent to, in my opinion, to be successful in the league. It's just kind of a matter of the chips falling in the right place. But you've shown a knack for stepping up in big moments. and I don't all of a sudden see that going away. So, just continue doing your thing, man. And again, thanks for being on the show. Again, I will, just so you all know, links to his social media will be in the description. So please, I suggest go follow him, go see his journey, support. I'm always proud to have the opportunity to sit down with these young men and they can tell you their journey, their testimonial. If you made it to the end, you're a real one. Do the HBO special. Again, maybe hit that like and subscribe. Until then, be safe, take care of your body, work hard, practice hard, grind hard. Good outcomes will be there. And we are out.